how to read anyone's mind in less than 8 minutes. Most sales guys think they need some magical script to close deals. Bullshit. The best closers don't follow scripts. They know how to read people's minds. They flip the script by getting inside of the prospect's mind and getting the prospect to sell themselves. And that's what separates the rookies from the killers. In this video, I'm gonna break down the D.O.M.I.N.A.T.E framework. This is the method I use to gather information. It's my 8-minute X-ray to read anybody's minds, to uncover their true desires, and make closing seem effortless. Most sales guys fuck this up because they talk too much and they listen too little. They ramble on, they pitch too early, and they wonder why the prospect needs to think about it. Great sales is not about talking. It's about knowing what's going on in the prospect's mind, and that's what the 8-minute X-ray is for. To make this easy to remember, I'm using the word dominate. D stands for doubt. Can they even do this? One of the first things you gotta do is understand the prospect's problem and their pain of their current situation. Do they even believe that it's possible to solve this problem, to relieve this pain? Do they believe they could solve this problem on their own, or do they think they need an expert to help them? I like to think of this as their own personal hell. Like they're stranded on a secluded island, stuck in this nightmare experience. And when you first meet them, it's not obvious how they could even escape or leave this hell island. So you gotta ask them, what's their biggest challenge right now? What's stopping them from fixing this on their own? That's how you gotta open it up. And if they hesitate, they're already doubting themselves. O stands for outcome. What do they really want? People don't buy products, they buy better versions of themselves. And if you don't know what that looks like, you're never gonna close the deal. So you gotta ask them things like, in a perfect world, where would you like to see your business in the next 6 months? Whether it's their fitness or their relationships, you have to find out their vision for the future, their desired outcome. And this is the opposite of their own personal hell island. This is their desired situation, which is like their heaven island. So now that you understand their pain and their doubt and their desired outcome, it's time for the next step, which is M, which stands for money. Are they ready to invest? And if they have limiting beliefs about money and they're afraid to invest, your job is to challenge that worldview and share new ideas about money. After thousands of sales calls under my belt, I realized that it's rarely ever about the money. Money is never really the issue. It's usually just an excuse or a smokescreen because they don't really see the value. So it's never really the price, it's the value that's more important. It's usually a limiting belief about the risk because if they truly saw the value, they would find the money. Like imagine if I had a Lamborghini and I'm signing over the pink slip in your name for $10,000. You would find a way to go get 10 grand even if you didn't have 10 grand in the bank because you know the value of that Lamborghini. So you might want to ask questions like, how much have you invested into solving this in the past? Because scared money don't make money. I stands for investment justification. Is it worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Before you attempt to sell anything to anybody, you have to justify the investment. So even though we make decisions first with our mammal brain, with our croc brain, with our emotions, we still have to justify that emotional decision with logic and reason. So now that you know the pain of their current situation and the problem they want to solve, and now that you know their desired outcome, your job is to justify the bridge from their own personal hell to their own personal heaven island, to justify the cost of that pathway. So it really doesn't matter if they could afford it or not, because people don't buy things because they could afford them. They buy things when they could justify a clear ROI, return on investment. So you might want to ask things like, well, you said you wanted to get to 100 grand a month with your business. Why that number specifically? I know you didn't just pull that number out of thin air. Why 100 grand? If we could help get you to 100 grand a month, what does that unlock for you? What does that do for your business? So when you start stacking up the benefits of the return, people could justify it with logic in their minds. N stands for now. Why now? Why not do it later? Humans tend to procrastinate due to fear. And when people make life-changing decisions, they need a sense of urgency to take action now instead of later. Because later usually means never Because procrastination is the biggest killer of success. If they don't see the urgency, they're not going to take action. They're not going to move. You got to ask questions like, you told me you've been trying to take care of this for a while now. You've been stuck at that plateau for over a year now. What's making you want to take care of this now? Why not months ago? Why not years ago? Why now? A stands for authority. Do they trust you? Trust is everything. If they don't believe in you, they're not going to believe in your offer. You could ask questions like, have you ever had a mentor to hold you accountable? Have you ever hired an expert to help you with this before? What happened with that? Or if they didn't, you could say, well, why not? You don't believe in mentors. You don't believe in agencies. You want to uncover their worldview and their limiting beliefs so you could challenge them. Before you move on to the next step, you just want to find out what they've tried before, what the other solutions were, what worked in the past, and what didn't. T stands for tension and transition. This is where you challenge them. If they're still on the fence, you got to challenge their worldview. You got to call out their limiting beliefs. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions at this point. If you don't take care of this now, what's going to happen? If you don't find somebody to take care of this for you, what's the plan then? E stands for execution. Are they ready? A sale is never made unless you get them to commit. So you could ask questions like, if I could take care of this for you, are you ready to get started right away? I could give you all the resources you need to be successful, but are you going to show up and put in the work? Are you ready? What's your timeline on this project? Is this something you're trying to take care of right away, or are you just window shopping? If we accepted you in right now, is there anything holding you back from getting started right away? This is how you flip the script in sales. Instead of pushing, you pull. Instead of convincing, you guide them. Instead of dealing with objections, you eliminate them before they even come up. So use the D.O.M.I.N.A.T.E framework on your next call and watch how your prospects open up to you and how quickly you can read their minds. Most sales guys are out here guessing, but if you want to be elite, you got to be strategic, and D.O.M.I.N.A.T.E is your cheat code. So apply it, use it, and start closing like a killer.